Yesterday evening, Friday evening, there was a vehicle, a roll-off dumpster, if you will, that had its arm raised as it was traveling under the overpass. It struck the outside beam as it was exiting under the bridge.
Welcome into WTOL 11 Plus. I'm Michael Sandlin. The commute to downtown Toledo got a little trickier last night after a semi took out part of the overpass on 75 near Detroit Avenue. Take a look at this video. You can see the semi driving eastbound on 475 when part of the semi crashes into the overpass. The damage was so significant that ODOT closed parts of 475 and 75 going both directions so the agency could fix the overpass. Those repairs are expected to last all weekend and into Monday morning. But ODOT does say it expects all repairs to be done before the morning commute.
For motorists that are traveling around the Toledo area, they will be guided to travel on 475 to bypass the region. But if you're traveling in the local routes, it's important to know that surface streets are what you'll be relying on for the next couple of days. Specifically on I-75, like you said, it's between the two segments of 475 and those junctions in North Toledo and in Perrysburg. However, if you're traveling southbound, if you're leaving from downtown to go to Perrysburg or beyond south, you will be able to get on going southbound. So it's anything south of Detroit Avenue, you will be able to travel south at this time.
So that means if you're going to downtown Toledo at all this weekend, you're likely going to need to take some detours. If you're coming north from Bowling Green, I-75 is open all the way to State Route 795, where drivers are encouraged to use I-280 to go downtown or bypass the I-75 closure. Alternately, you can go through Rossford to East Toledo and over the MLK Bridge to downtown as well. Now, let's say you're coming from Sylvania. You can still take I-475 eastbound, but you'll need to get off at Central Avenue and take Upton Avenue to Monroe Street to get downtown. Now, coming up later tonight, WTOL 11's Dominique O'Neill hears from the Rossford mayor about the potential increase of traffic due to the closure of 75. Plus, as updates continue into the newsroom from ODOT, we'll be sure to keep you in the loop at WTOL.com.
And weather-wise, there is going to be a bit of rain that impacts those weekend plans. We are going to be totally dry for the rest of this evening and into early Sunday, but I am tracking some showers that are going to be arriving after 3 p.m. on Sunday, bringing some soggy conditions for weekend activities. Between a quarter to isolated up to 1 inch rainfall amounts are going to be expected from this system. Doppler radar and satellite totally quiet. There has been a good amount of sunshine returning with all the cloud cover sliding off into eastern Ohio, and that has made way for a sunny but chilly evening. Temperatures are colder than average for this time in March. 44 in Toledo, 43 degrees in Bowling Green, and I do expect the cooler pattern to continue into Sunday, although we are going to be looking at rain that rolls in later on in the day. With an area of low pressure over the Dakotas and a cold front sliding on through, that is going to kick up the wind and also usher in some showers for the tail end of the weekend. Plus, I'm going to have a look at your 10-day and Mud Hens opening day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Michael?
All right, John, we'll see you then. Catholics around the world are awaiting Pope Francis's scheduled release from a hospital in Rome on Sunday. He was there for more than 5 weeks, battling a life-threatening bout of pneumonia in both lungs. CBS News has more.
Pope Francis's doctors say he will be discharged from the hospital on Sunday. He spent nearly 40 days fighting double pneumonia. He was admitted on February 14th with bronchitis that grew worse. His doctors say Pope Francis will need at least 2 months of rest and rehabilitation after he returns to the Vatican. During his life-threatening illness, the 88-year-old Pope suffered several respiratory crises that put him in critical condition.
The Holy Father, at the time of his admission to Gemelli Hospital, presented an acute respiratory failure.
The Vatican press office says the Pope's situation stabilized over the past 2 weeks. He is no longer using a ventilation mask at night and is relying less on supplemental oxygen during the day.
The Holy Father was never intubated, and he always remained alert and oriented.
But doctors say the Pope will need continued speech therapy after prolonged use of high-flow oxygen. The Vatican announced Pope Francis would appear on Sunday morning to bless the faithful from his 10th floor suite at the hospital, his first live appearance since he was admitted last month. Allie Bauman, CBS News, New York.
Yesterday was World Down Syndrome Day, and today, the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Toledo celebrated. The DSAGT partnered with Incredible to host an event to bring individuals with Down syndrome and their families together to bring awareness. World Down Syndrome Day is observed on March 21st globally, with the date chosen to represent the third copy of the 21st chromosome. Events like this raise money for the association to provide resources and services for those with Down syndrome.
Especially with the Down syndrome group, I feel like sometimes they think that they can't do certain things and all that. So this is a way for people to see that they're capable of doing many activities that everyone else does, and a way for them to get out and they like to be with their friends and families and stuff, just like everybody.
Now, if you were unable to attend today's event and would like to learn more or be involved with the association, you can find a link under links mentioned at WTOL.com. Well, the chilly weather this morning didn't stop golfers from hitting the links in South Toledo today. That's because the South Toledo Golf Club hosted their 38th annual Chili Open Golf Scramble. The club was packed as hundreds of golfers teed off for 9 holes to kick off the season. While some golfers are happy to be out and don't mind a little bit of cold, others are trying to stay warm and have fun in the process.
You don't really pay attention to that much, you know. It's the first few holes and it's a little cold, but then after a while it's like it's nothing. It's like it's 70-degree weather out here.
The ball doesn't drive as far, man. When it's cold, it's like hitting a dead ball, but it was all good. With the wind kind of helped out our shots a little bit. So we had fun, finished well, 3 under.
Well, they certainly look chilly. Golfers get 2 carts, lunch, prizes, and the 9 holes, all while benefiting the Toledo Junior Golf Association. One of the world's greatest heavyweight fighters and innovators of all time has died. George Foreman, the heavyweight champ and creator of the George Foreman Grill, was 76 years old when he passed. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette has more on his life.
Come back a decade later, following what he called a religious awakening. He won another heavyweight title, beating Michael Moorer in 1994 at the age of 45. Then came his second career as an entrepreneur, launching the George Foreman Grill, which sold more than 100 million units around the world.
George Foreman, and look out.
He was beloved for his spirit and sense of humor. His family announcing his death on social media with an emotional tribute, saying he lived his life marked by unwavering faith, humility, and purpose. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Wood County's Middleton Township and Oregon are both future sites of data centers. The facilities house computing infrastructure where digital data is stored and processed. And while economic developers say the centers only employ 40 to 50 people, it's the promise of what will come later that's got tech specialists intrigued. This week on Leading Edge, digital strategist Jason Hood joins Jeff Smith as they dive into data centers and discuss, once they're here, what we should expect.
Buildings themselves have a lot of maintenance to them. So again, everything from power and the ability to cool the data center, everything from around and the security in that facility. But then a lot of other jobs come in, and if you look at Columbus as an example, you see a lot of technology jobs coming into the area, really piggybacking on the fact that these data centers come into the area. And locally here, you see the Regional Growth Partnership starting to focus on how we draw those types of companies to the Toledo area as well.
You can catch all that and more this Sunday on Leading Edge at 8:30. Want to see more breakdowns of viral trends and 60-second stories? Check out our WTOL 11 social media pages on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. A federal judge has rebuked the Trump administration over whether it ignored orders during the deportation of Venezuelan migrants. The administration accused those migrants of being gang members, despite some having no criminal record. CBS has more.
Late Friday, the Trump administration announced it was revoking the legal status of more than 500,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who came to the U.S. legally under a parole status. The Biden-era program, known as CHNV, allowed the immigrants to live in the U.S. through sponsorships by U.S. citizens and permanent residents.
In the next 30 days, their work permits and deportation protections will be lapsed and terminated by the Department of Homeland Security, which is warning that if these people do not voluntarily depart the country, John, they will be found, arrested, and deported from the country.
It comes as Friday, federal judge James Boasberg rebuked the Trump administration for ignoring his order to turn planes around mid-flight, carrying Venezuelan migrants to a high-security detention facility in El Salvador. Boasberg asked the Justice Department attorney, "Did you not understand?" and accused the administration of disrespecting the court, ignoring orders, and missing his deadlines. The president has firmly stood by his decision and blasted the judge.
The bad people, we don't want them in our country. We can't let a judge say that he wants them. You know, he didn't run for president. He didn't get much more than 80 million votes. And we just can't let that happen.
The administration claims all the men who were deported are gang members, despite some having no criminal history and given no due process. The deportees are being held in one of the most notorious prisons in the world. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell pointed to high uncertainty about the impact of Donald Trump's tariffs and other economic policies. The Fed now expects the economy to grow more slowly this year than it did 3 months ago. Stocks have been losing ground for weeks, and yesterday, several U.S. companies, including Nike and FedEx, reported lower earnings.
Turning to your forecast, there is going to be some rain that impacts those weekend plans. So I hope you've enjoyed this Saturday sunshine, because by Sunday there is going to be a round of showers that rolls through during the second half of the day. So morning plans totally fine. Even into the early afternoon, dry weather is expected. It's really after about 3 o'clock p.m. that we're expecting some of those Sunday showers to arrive. Not too much in terms of rainfall. Most areas only seeing about 1/4 of an inch of rain, with isolated half-inch rainfall amounts that will be possible with this batch of Sunday showers. Dry weather continuing for the rest of your Saturday. The cloud cover that was prevalent early has now moved off towards I-71 in eastern Ohio, with the sky clearing on out, and it is expected to be a clear and chilly feeling evening. Temperatures are in the 40s for the most part, 44 in the Toledo metro, 45 back towards Fulton County, and Hillsdale's temperature has dropped down to 39 degrees. Our next system is currently over the Dakotas with a cold front that is draped across the Rockies, and those showers are going to be returning after 3 p.m. on Sunday as that system races east towards the Great Lakes region. So let's time it hour by hour. Dry weather to start off your Sunday. By Sunday morning, showers are going to start to push into Illinois. It's really the mid to late afternoon time frame that we start to see rain chances. Even at 3 o'clock, the rainfall looks fairly light and scattered, so it's not going to wash out those plans. By dinner time, 6 to 7 p.m., the rain is going to start to pick up intensity, and that is the time period that we're expecting the steadiest rain to fall near or slightly after sunset, and it's going to be tapering off before midnight as rain pushes off into eastern Ohio and towards Pennsylvania. As we fast forward the clock into Monday, there is going to be a lingering low pressure system that could churn out a few isolated sprinkles or flurries, but the bigger story Monday is the colder breeze. There could be 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts and temperatures down in the 40s for your Monday. Latest data showing widespread 1/4 inch rainfall amounts. There is the chance that a few areas west and north do pick up closer to 1/2 inch, but most locations just about 1/4 inch of rainfall. In terms of your Sunday forecast, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain. PM is really when we're targeting the wet weather to move on through, and high temperatures, they're going to be in the upper 40s, but it's really not going to feel like it because there is going to be a chillier southeast breeze, gusts up to 35 miles an hour possible as that rain moves on through, and it'll be a damp feeling March breeze for the evening. Timing out the temperatures, we are expected to be near to below freezing, so a cool start to your Sunday. We do briefly climb to the upper 40s, and then Monday is expected to be noticeably cooler. Highs are only going to be around 44 degrees, but there is going to be a brisk west wind that may gust 30 to 40 miles per hour. So about those winds, tomorrow morning it's going to be fairly still with single-digit wind speeds. Winds are going to be blowing in from the southeast, though, by the afternoon, and I do expect an uptick in those winds as that system approaches. Heading into Monday, a cold front is going to kick up the westerly breeze. It's going to be blowing from west to east, and we could see gusts of around 40 miles an hour to start off the week. So plan on a gusty start to your work week. Breezy conditions with a chillier feel Monday. West winds may gust to 40 miles an hour. Tuesday is going to be in the upper 40s at least